Y up, Z up accident, right? So one of the things that I just figured out just by thinking it through logically, when I had my character Y up brought into or connected to the character inside of Unreal, that Y up suddenly became Z up, and the character ended up sort of on her face, right? So when I took the Maya scene and adjusted for a Z up coordinate system, my character was lying on its back, and I rotated her up at the root joint to be perpendicular, or vertical rather. And then when I looked over at Unreal Engine, you saw in the previous stream, she's suddenly upside down in the world. So I had to rotate my character negative 90 degrees to get her to sit upright. And I was like, that's weird. That's not right. Because the simple setting of, or conversion from Y up to Z up should be straightforward, because Maya's using the Z up coordinate system to relate to Unreal Engine a little bit better. Then I realized it's inheriting a transform. So what had happened was, when I switch from Y up to Z up, my character's on the back and the root joint is at 0. Inside of Unreal, the character's standing up, root joint at 0. So the minute I rotated my character up, in Unreal, the character rotated down, right? So what I needed to do was figure out a way of rotating my character to the correct orientation without having it affect the root joint orientation. So what I did was, if we take a look at the outliner inside here, I just decided to come in here and do a couple of different things. First of all, I wanted to take my braid root and move it in with, not my auxiliary controls. My auxiliary controls, by the way, I moved underneath my character node. So it's all bundled under the same character. But I brought in my braids skeleton and added it in here. And I created a universal group that grabbed all of my joints and all of my controllers, but not the geometry. Because remember, if you rotate joints and geometry, the geometry gets an inherited transform and the geometry will split apart from the skeleton. So what I wanted was the universal control to have the 90-degree rotate, but the character root joint to stay the same. These values in the character root joint were there from the beginning, right? It's some odd values, but never mind, right? So now I've got my character oriented the correct way. That sort of transform offset of 90 degrees is only on that group node, and it's not affecting anything else, right? So I've got the root node in here, but to make sure that the hair didn't split apart from the head, remember in the last stream I just gave up and hid the hair, and then I was moving the bald character inside of Maya, and it was affecting my Unreal Engine character. But I don't want that. I want to see the character sort of the way she was meant to be seen, minus the textures. So I decided to move the joints that control the braid into this node here, and then for the geometry of the hair, I just left it under the SM hair braid. All I did was move the joints down in here, right? So then setting Maya back up to Windows Settings, Preferences. So under Settings, I created that Z-up orientation, and the character's here, and her rig is pretty much intact, including the ponytail. I didn't want to go and re-rig all of that again, right? So I'm quite happy that I was able to sort of preserve her rig to a certain degree. Now what I mean by that is I've done this, but I haven't tested the connection. Now in theory, the data that's going from joint transform to joint transform inside of Unreal will kind of be unaffected, right? I've just reoriented in the viewport for Maya just to see, just to be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to fire up Unreal, and I'm going to try to do the live link connection again, and I want to see if I can control this character this way. I had to do a little bit of adjustment on the viewport camera because focusing on the character was thrown a little bit off. So what I did was I went into my viewport camera, right? So now I can rotate around selection, but what I had to do was to go in and select my perspective camera in the viewport and set my local rotate pivots to 0. Otherwise, my camera was flying all over the place. It must have inherited something when I switched from y-axis up to z-axis up. But that's fine. We're back to normal. And see, you can see the rotation pivot is off, but I can just grab a controller, hit F to frame up on it, and it's rotating around that world pivot. So it's all good, right? So it's behaving properly as Maya would, except with Z up. Now, I was doing this sort of jiggery pokery kind of stuff because I didn't want to have to do the skeleton definition of the character. Now, the original plan was to open up a brand new scene of Maya, Z-axis set properly, re-import the FBX in, and do the rigging all over again, which meant I would have to re-rig the ponytail. And I wanted to see if I could get away with this cheat, because all I needed was one transform adjustment. In the past, I would use an offset node or just an offset null inside my character file, and then that would take my scene orientations. Well, it's pretty much what I've done here with a group node, right? So I want to see if that is good enough a cheat that it'll be workable. So there's my TSO1A. That's the teaser 1A. And we'll open that up. In the meantime, I'm going to see if I can open up my live link. I'll bet you I lost my plugins. See, this is another vexing problem. So I'm going to have to investigate this and see if I can get this sorted out. It's really strange because it's reading from the same directory. It's just resetting all of my plugins. It's just so bizarre. I've never run into that sort of situation before. So it's kind of unusual. But I'm just going to pop in and navigate to those again. So I'm in here and I'm going to go to my program files and then into Autodesk 2019, my plugins, Maya Live Link. I'll grab this guy here and browse to the other one, the Maya Live Link UIPY. And bingo, auto load those two guys, right? So when I click on this, boom, we've got our Live Link UI. So I hope I don't have to redo. One asset editor was opened when the editor was last closed. Would you like to? Oh, yeah, let's open that up again. Oh, it's the Live Link window. I wonder if it's going to find it because I did it that way. Maybe. Let's move the animation. I want to rename that, by the way. So let's see if we can connect up. Now, in here, I'm just going to go and grab my root joint. I wonder if I have to grab two root joints, actually. You'll see what I'm talking about. I have a separate root joint for the hair. Yeah. So grab the root joint, add selection. I might have to add the hair joints back into my hierarchy, skeletal hierarchy, because when I'm adding this Live Link character, I'm looking at the full hierarchy. Yeah, and the root of the braid is not included in there. That's okay, whatever. Let's just see if the Y-up orientation works in this. So I'm going to take a look at the blueprint here, make sure I've got Live Link. That's set up. Let's take a look at the AB movement, and we've got the Live Link pose. Looking for the root, that's fine. That's transmitting. So let's double check to make sure that our Live Link, so it's not sensing the bus, so let's save this guy off. See if it'll sense that now. Okay, so what I thought I'd solved before doesn't look like it's completely solved. So let's take a real quick look here. I'm going to pop out to my character again, take a look at the blueprints. There's our main character blueprint. Let's open that guy up. Save, compile. It's fine. Let's go into our Live Link and see if we can sense something going on with Maya. Okay, so the save and compile solution that I thought was the heart of this doesn't seem to be working at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to fire up the Live Link again. And let's hope. So we got the DAG path there. That's cool. No connection yet. Well, let's come in here. Source, message bus source. just want to double check all of my live link connections. So here we've got our Nikki blueprint. Let's see if that live link is, that's doing its thing. And this is the Nikki blueprint. Yeah. See, the AB movement is saying that we are going through this, grabbing the root node, everything under the root node, and sending it up the animation pipe. But it is not working here yet. I think this is the biggest source of frustration for me at the moment, is that there is no, so you know what, let's try, close this down. Let's try opening it up again. Maybe a refresh will pick that up. And it doesn't. So let's try. Sometimes when you fire the plugin back up again, it'll do its thing. Let's do that, and then that. Go into here and sense that bus source type. Okay, we'll give it a few minutes. All I want to do is make sure that my puppeteering controls inside of Maya will be able to manipulate my character. Now, this doesn't seem to be doing its thing, so I'm going to come back here. Let's see if I type in the Maya Live Link UI, semicolon, right? That fires up. Let's take that off, grab this again, and then we'll add that selection again. And then let's see, will it pick up the bus? There it is. So, yeah, the connection's a bit dodgy, isn't it? Okay, so I had to close down and restart the connection just to get it to sort of sense. So expect that, I'd imagine. Okay, so we do have a situation where our Nikki character is face down, right? So I think what is happening is that on this root joint, I'm going to try something. I reckon this root, see, I thought these were odd values. I think this root joint needs to be zeroed out, to be honest with you. Oh, those are those values. Okay, so there's that. Now, let's find the joints that are moving our character. Now, if I were to take that universal joint, it's not going to move the character, because where was the character's movement prior to me doing that? Oh, it was the character. It was the character reference null. Was it that I moved? Let's try this. Right? I think it was the character reference. It was the character reference node. So hang on a minute. If I do this, put a negative 90 on there, right? Follow me on this one. Follow my logic, right? So if I do that, come back into the outliner, grab the universal node, reset my transforms to 0. Aha! So that's where it is, right? So instead, if I go 90 and then 180, right? Now, will this work for us? I don't know. Let's find out, right? So I'm going to come up to the character. Character looks okay. Mouth open a bit. That's all right. So we got an issue with the hair, but that's okay. I have a feeling we might be able to do a little quick fix on the hair. So we got the braid root there. And ideally, so this is constrained to those controls. So if we head over to the IK controls, No, I think it's the orientation of the joints that are affecting this, even though I can't really change it unless, can we, on the group node, move that around?
I won't even take a single bite. It's all to yourself.
So if I go 90 degrees on the group node, I think that's what her hair was. Let's try that. So I've got the group node carrying the majority of that. Let's see if we can animate this character. I know I'm going to have to put the braid controls in there somehow. Hey, buddy, how's it going? Hey, good to see you,
Smell
kiddo.
my breath.
What is that? What'd you eat?
Cake.
Cake. He's got cake breath, guys. No way.
Have a good life.
Have a good life.
Peace.
Peace out. All right. So I think we've got a really good kind of connection to an animatable character here. We've got transforms being handled, 90-degree transforms being handled on the braid. We got the character reference node having a negative 90, which that's okay. I mean, really, if you think about the reference locator, these guys are just control objects built by the human IK, so it doesn't really affect the joint transforms. As long as the data on the joints remains the same. Although, if that were the case, why did it orient the character in the space? That's going to bear a little bit of thinking about. But we've got our root joints are clean, right? I'm actually going to create a Y-up, Z-up, clean Z-up Maya scene, import the FBX in as a clean Y-up. I'm going to create a clean Z-up Maya scene, import the FBX in that Z-up context, check the root joint, and make sure the transforms are identical. If they're not, then I'm probably going to do the grunt work and re-rig this character because I don't want anything to bite me in the ass later on. But we've also got the 180 on the group node there. And I have a feeling that this negative 89.972 is aberrant. I have a feeling it was not meant to be there on that root joint. Oh, actually, this root joint is supposed to be I think it's supposed to be here up on the wrist. So if I compensate by negative 180 to there, we kind of have the same sort of thing, don't we? Right? It wouldn't be those side rotations. So there's a negative 180, there's a 180 compensation on that, and a negative 180 compensation on that. Oh, I don't know, guys. That's a little bit hairy. But we'll see. We'll see. Because we don't really need that joint, right? Because everything else is just sort of working, right? Oh, I really dig that. So I'm gonna try to work with that. There are a few things I need to do in terms of the face, right? Which I'll sort out. The face, probably do a quick little normal smooth on the geometry of the face, and then we'll take it from there. What I want to do is I actually want to come down here, reset her hair, so it's exactly the hairstyle in terms of my character. Whoops. I want to grab her in here, right? So it's not too bad. I hate the fact that we had to hack a few transform values, but there you go. It's not like I haven't done that before. Actually, it was while I was at Electronic Arts. What was his name? He was the technical director for the Hellboy movie, Paul Thurio. He's the one that showed me about offset nulls, right? And compensating for weird transforms by just creating another null to carry your offset, and then away you go. And then he also showed me how to use the math nodes, so that we could put that offset compensation in a math node inside your node graph, right? So, okay, DAG nodes. That's what I was thinking of. So put it in your DAG node somewhere. So I'm going to head down to where I've got the character movement, those are all the movements there. The open mouth one, let's go to the expression open mouth. Let's close it. Right? And hairstyle, customization, right? Hair, we want the braid, right? So that's cool. Eyes are clear on the braid, right? So there's a little bit crossover on the one eye. Just want to double check that visually. Make sure that my values are not correct actually. So that would actually be a little bit more of a, let's bring this up. I think there would be a little bit more clearance going the other way on that. Not on the root, on here, right? So we probably want something. Let me go back to the channel box. I'll grab this. I think it's around about there. I have a feeling the offset is 120. It's a bit of an unusual one. It's not 180. I think it's 120. So I'm just going to take another quick look here. I'm going to pop in here. I'm going to slow my speed down to 2. All right. That looks about right to me. So I'm going to save that.
I'll give you one.
And hopefully those will give us the correct values. We'll know the minute we connect up the braid joints to our Maya Live link. Okay, that's cool. That's all I wanted to show you guys. I'm going to save this off and I will talk to you later. Okay, so save that one. So that's not bad. We got that.